What is happening, everyone? American and Leeds, the American and Leeds YouTube and Twitter. My name is Alex Simon. Hope you're all doing well. I have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old upstairs, so he might come down. Just prepping everyone. I'm hearing him rustle. Wanted to talk a little bit about the transfer budget, where we're at, where I think it is. No one will know. No one knows for sure. I do think, the phrase of the day that has been with me uh, is recalibration. There's some recalibration happening at Elland Road. I'm laughing because, all we can do is hope as Leeds fans to really get this window cracking on, it really hasn't, unfortunately. And I personally thought there'd be more in at this time. Specifically, I've talked about it last week. I'm talking about it now, but the goalie, in my estimation, should be in. I don't know why it's not in. To me, I think it's important because it's going to affect how you want to play. If you want to say you're playing out of the back, I don't think we will, but you're going to want to do it at some point. And that whole strategy, it's not like the championship. It's not going to be like that. You have to be switched on from minute 1 to minute 95. Everybody said it. And the keeper is just a key component. And now we're headed to Strawberry Field in Oslo, I believe. And we're going to be bringing Meslier, Carnes, and Darlow. Unless a keeper signs in the next 24 hours that nobody knows about, that's our goalkeeper situation. And I'm already down. I've already downgraded the window. For 2 years, I sat and said, judge the 49ers when it's pencils down. Don't judge them early. That was in the championship. That's when we had time. We had a superior team, and we had time to have a mediocre August. This is different. We don't have time to get off to a bad start. We will be in a scrap from game 1, and they're rolling the dice to a degree that I didn't think the 49ers would do. There's been several managing of the expectations articles that have been released, right? Each one of them, The Athletic, Leeds Live, Yorkshire Evening Post, kind of just cooling the waters, but really talking about a little bit about PSR. The latest one from Graham Smith came out this afternoon about a couple hours ago. It was great. I mean, he didn't say anything. He said it all facts. Okay, so we'll just go through that. And then I think we'll go over the high side of the budget and the low side of the budget, where it could be at, and then maybe Jack Harrison. And then I want to look at the squad depth, what you would call a depth chart. That way you avoid being square peg round hole FC. Do a depth chart of your formation, of your probable formation, and then take it from there. But all right, so Graham Smith article was basically saying, hey, there's a perception view. Leeds United face criticism as the summer targets Habib Daria and midfielder Noah Siddiqui ended up in rival Sunderland. Okay. Not the end of the world that those two, we lost out on those two. I think there's plenty of fish in the sea. I do believe in the rhetoric that Leeds United have been building from the back, with the exception of the goalie. But the 6 teams that have been relegated from the Premier League have shipped too many goals upon promotion. And yes, you have to score, but you cannot ship goals. And so I appreciate that depth, specifically at the center back position, that they've built. So defensive and fullback reinforcement remains. Leeds have signed Gabriel Goodmanson, wing back, left back, could be defensive back. He's very flexible. Re-signed Sam Byram. I appreciate that. I'm not going to knock Sam Byram. Counts as a homegrown. Gaps remain. Midfield, goalkeeper positions still unaddressed. No incoming wingers or strikers or attacking midfielders have joined yet. Attacking midfielders have not even been linked very much. Anton Stach and Sean Longstaff remain top of the midfield shortlist, still considered realistic and would bolster depth and variety if signed. Fans' concerns will ease once Leeds complete one or two high-profile public signings, especially in those midfield areas. Supporters' apprehension is expected to fade. So, if by that they mean, Anton Stach, Sean Longstaff, absolutely. I will basically ease once we sign a goalie. I keep going. I'm going to say more about it, I'm sure. What else can we say? The punchline in all this really article is saying that Leeds are navigating a tricky area, being outbid on some targets, yet still hungry for key reinforcements. The success of signing Stach, Longstaff, and a goalkeeper will determine if concerns fade or intensify ahead of the new Premier League season. I think things are tight at Elland Road. I think there is absolutely walk away numbers. You have to walk away from certain deals in order for teams to respect you and players to respect you. I do think, as an American fan and understanding, and American owners to a degree, the 49ers might not be used to players and agents being in such powerful positions. And they have so much leverage in these windows. Really, deals in America are done between two teams, and the player is notified, they get a pay raise, and that's about it. I mean, even like Meslier, if this was America, would have been cut. They would just cut him in a professional league. He would be on a waiver wire and then picked up from there. And the ownership would no longer be responsible for his salary. There's so much. Now we would take a huge loss, a PSR loss on that. So we can't just cut Meslier. We can't just get rid of him, which is fine. Like Jack Harrison, all these like Harrison, Bamford. Some of you don't like Aronson. That's fine. You have to find a dance partner, and I don't know how many are out there. So, yeah, I think that things are being recalibrated. I think things are tighter at Elland Road than previously thought, and I'm quite honestly shocked by the slowness of the window. I still think they're getting quality, but again, when you reflect back on these managing expectations articles, there's been several. Baron Cross wrote one. Again, Leeds Live wrote one. Grant Smith has, I think, written two, and they're basically saying they're not doing panic buys. They're being led by the sabermetrics or the data, and they're not going to basically saying they're not going to overpay for players. We all can appreciate that the board is not being perceived as mugs. I totally get that. However, the reality of the situation is you are in, as I said 2 weeks ago, purgatory. You're in this weird unspoken league in which you're too good for the championship, but you're going to get right. The data would show you your odds-on favorites to be relegated. So it's really hard to recruit a player who's playing in a side or a league that has ambition to go to the Premier League, but there is going to be a scrap and a you are favorited to go down. And Sunderland have agreed to that, and they've overpaid. They're taking that risk. The downside to what Sunderland is doing is it might not work out, and then you're down. This whole idea of the Forest model. Look at what Forest did. Now they're in Europe. Okay, Forest should have been relegated twice. They really should have been relegated. Unfortunately, we were more incompetent than Forest. And Forest stayed up, and now, yes, they're in Europe. Congratulations, Nottingham Forest. So, as stewards of the club, I love it. As a fan, I want them to have one or two marquee signings. And again, I really do think that goalie is huge. You get the goalie, you get these two, as the article said, if you get the goalie, Longstaff, and a goalkeeper by the second preseason game, I'm probably feeling a lot better. But as we sit here and you're packing up in 4 days for Manchester United clash, and you'll start to understand what you've got. They're just, I talked about it earlier. We all talked about it. If Leeds do get promoted, we have to get business done early, and it hasn't been done. So let's look at the budget. There's basically two is the number of the day here, folks. Two schools of thought. Kieran Maguire said that the budget's 100 million, rising to maybe 150. That was public information. He was interviewed, I think, on TalkSport and some other places. Probably 100, right? Due to PSR implications, there's been several publications that show us our recent losses of about $60 million. Some arguing Leeds can realistically spend 50 to 60 million net. So what is it? Is it 100 million, or is it really actually closer to that 50, 60, maybe even 80 component, which might suggest the reasons why we're being so tight. So updated information, we've spent over 30 million on 4 new players. Also plus 10 million for Gabriel Goodmanson. So that means roughly 40 to 45 million of the budget remain. If that's true, that could make sense as to why we're so tight. So I honestly thought 6 months ago or so, we would have a record signing. We would overtopple the Jorginho Ruter signing of a couple of years ago. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be it's going to be a tight window, unfortunately. There's basically like an optimistic and a pessimistic view of this. So if you say that there's $100 million in backing from the 49ers, then there's $100 million left to allocate. If you are conservative with PSR limits, then there might be realistically only $25 to $35 million left. Big backing, potentially 150 million, but PSR constrictions mean they'll likely act more prudently. Club may still spend heavily, yet in terms of what they might be able to afford, only 25 to 35, unless sales happen. That's the other side of the thing. There's been no sales. Who's outgoing? I don't know. It's the thing. again, you'd want to cut the fat, right? If this was an organization where you would, if this was a company, you'd get rid of Harrison, probably Bamford because of his wages, Meslier. So I don't know, I don't know what's going on here, and I don't understand. And I'm getting frustrated a little bit, and I'm preparing myself with maybe one or two more signings, and that's about it. Maybe three if you get a goalkeeper. Honestly, if they got the goalkeeper done and one of the midfielders, I would be absolutely happy and crossing my fingers that something came in September, and hoping that Daniel Farke could manufacture a front four that could produce and hit people on the counter. But here's the other thing: you really want to calculate it. Our first year back in the championship, Somerville, Ruter, Archie Gray. I would argue that we were stronger in our first year of the championship and our second year of the championship than we are now. Let's even look at last year. Let's look at, again, 4 months ago. Out. Solomon could resign. We don't know. Rothwell's gone. Gulavagi's gone. Firpo's gone. Vober's gone. Snake, we hate him, etc. In Bijol, Goodmanson, Nimka, Bornau. Firpo's probably not as good as Goodmanson. That's an upgrade. Nimka's on a free. Bornau, we lost Rothwell. We lost a set piece taker and we don't have as good a depth in midfield currently. Solomon's was arguably our best winger. Vober was probably a cancer in the locker room, so maybe that's better. So, I mean, it's close. Let's just say it's close. You get Longstaff and Stachin, you're feeling a lot better. But it's time. It's go time. The other thing is, I'll say, you look at our preseason, we have 3 matches. I looked at Sutherland's preseason. They have 6. I mean, maybe games are taking place behind closed doors, but we need to really take this stuff seriously. We're not. I mean, you got to really prepare for the season. And I don't mean to always be comparing to Sutherland, but Jack Harrison is still at Leeds United. It's questionable whether Jack Harrison will be on the plane to Strawberry Field, not due to injury, but because he might not be part of Daniel Farke's plans. Although his contract runs until 2028, thank you, Victor Orta. He has one of the club's top salaries, and an active loan clause for when Leeds are outside of the Premier League. The clause led to consecutive loans at Everton, but Everton didn't option this summer. Over the last 6 years, Harrison has 206 appearances, 34 goals, and 32 assists, including the famous injury time winner in 2022. Still, he has his 2-year absence on loan has strained relationships with fans and management. He had 1 goal last year. 1 goal. With major friendlies up against clubs like Manchester United, Villarreal, and AC Milan ahead. By the way, the AC Milan game, how much preparation are you going to get? I believe AC Milan's going to be a split squad that day. Maybe I'm wrong. Leeds will soon clarify whether Harrison remains in Farke's plans or if a departure is imminent. The 2 things I'm interested in a couple days, in 4 days or whatever, 5 days. How much Meslier gets in? Is he going to be seeing any game time? Because I will be panic stations. Comically panic stations, but It's like how this is the 7th or 8th window we could have done something to upgrade the keeper. We got Darlow. I guess that was it. But we'll see. So Meslier, will he get any game time in Oslo? And the other one is Harrison. Will Harrison be featured at all in that game? It sounds like he's not being carried, at least even to the plane. So they are actively. But again, who's taking Harrison? Everton's not even going to take him. The promotion sides, he's not going to want to go to the championship. He's not going to want to go to the MLS. And I don't see him going to a like, do you see Jack Harrison going to Spain or something, like a lower level Spain side or Germany? I mean, maybe if the money's right. I would be shocked a little bit by that. So, all right, I'm going to end the Twitter stream. Go ahead and smash the like the smash, etc., etc. I appreciate you and thank you for stopping by this Twitter feed. Marching on together, Leeds. Hopefully, we'll get some more signings in soon. I'm going to share the squad build on the old, and I'm going to read some comments. I saw some comments coming in, but let's go in. This is how, I don't know, in a lot of American sports, we're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. We do depth charts and breaking down our positions, and there's flexibility along this. In world football, there's flexibility. You can put Willie Nanto in the 10, right, and have cover. You can have the Ethan Ampadu drop into center back, of course. But if you do too much of that, you become square peg round hole FC, which is what happened to us 3-4 years ago. Okay, so striker position. If I'm needing to generate revenue, I'm looking to sell a striker. So Mateo Joseph might be the most sellable asset. If that $25 million, Bettis rumor is true, Mateo is absolutely a candidate that I would sell in order to strengthen areas of the pitch. It's a very, we have 2 seasoned strikers. We have a what I would call a reclamation project, Lucas Nimka, coming in on a free. So Mateo is somebody I would imagine would sell. And I would do it. I would do it if it would meant an extra $10 to $15 million to upgrade the number 10 position. I'm shocked you would get 25. I mean, I would get 15 to 10. I would really consider that. Winger, of course, is needed. I think Aronson might even be best as a winger, but he's in that 10 position. Jack Harrison is, by all accounts, I guess, moving on. And then this is why you see the need for upgrades and replacements in that holding too. Is, again, the formation could change, but Farka loves the 4-2-3-1. I don't think we've seen a game where he doesn't play a 4-2-3-1. So, we need upgrades in the midfield position. As we said, the spine. And then you're really kind of getting more comfortable on the back line. Maybe you feel like Isaac Schmidt or Sam Byram has flexibility to go to the other side. It's never ideal. We are not, I don't know how to say this, but we're not a top 6 side or a big 6 side. So we're not, I think the idea of having 2 at every position is nice, but I don't know if we'll have it. So you feel pretty obviously that fullback position behind Jaden Bogle is an area that you'd want to improve if you had to. But, again, my expectations have lowered so much. I don't know if we're going to get 5 to 10 to whatever everybody wanted. I think we're going to get 4, 3, 4. And if we're choosing them, I'm saying, midfield, goalie, 10, and striker. That's the 4. And that's an okay window. I would probably applaud that window. Am I saying that's a 10 out of 10 window? No, I'm saying that's probably, a solid 7, a solid 7. But I really do, to harp again, and then we'll look at your comments and we'll get out of here. But look at this goalkeeper position is big. I mean, Meslier, for whatever reason, Farka had a difficulty time pulling him for Darlow because he didn't trust him at his feet. And Darlow I thought he was very good at his feet. But if you're going to play out of the back in any kind of moment, you need to know where the goalie's going to be. And the communication between the center backs is going to be key. And those partnerships, I mean, people say you could put a goalie in at any time. Just put a goalie in. I think that partnership with Joe Rodon, Jacoby Joel, Pascal Strauk, and Carl Darlow currently, and Meslier. Obviously, Joe Rodon is very familiar with Darlow now. And even, we even talked about Ethan Ampadu at center back because of that. Those three, the Welsh wall, right? We all talked about it towards the end of last season. That's important to have. I mean, just is. We talked about it all season. So just to kind of throw a goalkeeper in there on like 2 weeks into the season, I think is reckless. I just do. And that's my sermon. I had a math teacher that used to say, that's my sermon. Okay, let's get into what you guys are saying. 1,800 of you guys went into my video. I mean, I usually don't get those kind of numbers, but I don't know. I'm frustrated, and so I appreciate it, everybody. I'm a small channel, 1,500 people. Go ahead and smash the like the smash. Carl, always good to see you. I saw late on Newcastle Today's site that Newcastle agreed Leeds Longstaff medical by the end of the week. Man, I tell you what, I hope it gets done. Get in. Okay, so Longstaff, I think he is the right type of player to come in here if he gets in. Look, he's not like a sexy signing or anything like that, but I think, again, there was somebody on my channel that talked about basically between Leicester and Ipswich, they combined for 2 clean sheets. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but 2 clean sheets in the Premier League. Leicester was a train wreck. They lost their man, all this stuff, but 2 clean sheets. We're going to be conceding. We can't concede the way the promoted teams have. And I think that's been a targeted building from the back, so to speak. I do think that's true. We just need a goalie. Andy Greenwood says the 49ers though did not let us down previously. Agree. They know that the Premier League survival is a must. They will get the players they need. They are smart business people. They are. I think it's tight. You know what I mean? I think they're stretching their dollar. That's what we say in America, stretch your dollar. Everybody needs to be shopped. When things are tight, you start shopping the insurance company, the groceries, start to go to the more generic brands. Like, I just think it's tighter over there. I do trust them. I trust them to manufacture money, if that makes any sense. Like, I almost do we need to sell the women's team to another LLC and then like move things around? They're good at that type. I don't think they're going to do something like that, but they're good at doing that manipulation of money, so to speak. And I do think there's a hard and fast budget. I think that Parag has told his team, this is it. That's the number. That's it. And call on this date if you need more money. Carl Bull says, I thought we would have that the speed. I would have thought that the speed of getting the job done would have picked up by now. I agree. I just think I won't say it again. Andy, they bid up to $32 million for Moons. Money is there, and they just don't want to overpay for players. Fine. I agree. The point is that there's certain positions that do need to come in, and that when the season starts in 35 days, this is precious time. I'm with you. This whole rhetoric of judge the windows when it's September 1st. That was me. I was saying that for 2 years when everyone was saying they were skint and all that stuff. I'm like, that's me. No, they've got money. Wait, they will. And then they brought, I think, like 7 or 8 in August. Remember, we were starting Dan James, Joe Gelhart, Jamie Shackleton at one of the wings. Like, I was like, calm down. They're going to tell these players that they're report to camp, and Nanto sat out and everything. All worked out. There needs to be a little bit more sense of urgency this season because we will be in a scrap. Carry on from previous messages. I'm amazed the 49ers have pushed things along. The 49ers are shrewd. I mean, I love that everybody's backing them. Behind the scenes, I have confidence in them. Are we getting close to thinking we're doing an Ipswich, resigning from facing the championship next season? I mean, as the squad build looks right now, I would think, and we're odds-on favorites to go down. That's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not stating anything out. If you were gambling, I think the latest odds were like 55% to go down. We were the least of the 3 promoted. Easy B says, I think we'll spend 150. Let's open up the wallets. Let's go. I want to see it. Taking Bamford, for example, why would he go? And who would want to pay his wages? Yeah, I don't know. Bamford's he's being highlighted quite a bit. I think Bamford will be, top, maybe. I don't think he'll be the top choice striker. I'm hopeful we'll get somebody in, but he will be, in and around the conversation. He does fancy himself, right? He clearly, if you look at his interview, there's one on LUTV. He's kind of speaking highly of himself that he's Premier League striker. And the thing that I was just saying, parentheses, we would have stayed up if Bamford hit some goal. Like, there was a penalty he missed. There was 2 or 3 sitters Bamford missed that I think might have gotten Forest relegated instead of us, or whoever finished 17th. I think it was Forest. We as fans must learn patience. Quite happy with 49ers and believe in them. All right. They're riding with some I don't know, equity. They've got you guys in a good spot. I agree. I love them. They're in my background. I think they're a much better ownership group. I'm just saying, I think it's tight. I think this balancing act of the PSR and whatever is going to be happening, I don't think that they're going to be spending willy-nilly. I think it's going to be a tight, maybe right at 100 or less. I think it's even going to might be less than 100 total spend. That's my guess. And I could be wrong. Leeds fans are forgetting they don't know the 49ers make things up. Fans whine as much as they want. I am not interested in what other sides are doing. Agree. Transfers with teams at the moment, cat and mouse game, and the 49ers will make it happen. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I hope they will. And look, Sutherland, they got these players in. They could get another player in. They're overspending. There's a gamble with that. If you go down and you overspend, the chemistry's not right. They don't get goals, and then the EFL championship's rubbing their hands and saying, Oh yeah. He's like minus 15. You're here for another 3 years, whatever. And by the way, transfer embargo. Thanks for coming down, boys. Um, so it's a gamble either way. Johnstone, Window, Ninkentia, Spetsian. I'm not sure. You must be referring to something else. As it stands, we are set to do a Sheffield, I think you're saying. 49ers have not let us down. I know that we'll have a top 10. A top 10. Oh, man. I hope so. I hope so, brother. Greenwood, you guys are talking to each other now. 49ers have a plan and results are the game. Nice to see so many sensible fans in the chat. Yeah, Sensible FC was the big joke. Like everybody's Sensible FC. Keeper 2 mids, a winger, a 10 and a 9 will arrive. Bookmark this. I love the cowboy hat, sir. A quality cowboy hat can be very expensive. A keeper, 2 mids, a winger, a 10 and a 9 will arrive. Bookmark it, baby. Minimum 5 to 6 players are needed, says Andy. I'm just skimming through here. Parag said he does details while in his sleep. I don't think he said he ate the sports page for breakfast. This is just, I think this is different for him. He's used to players, being disgruntled and upset and wanting to leave the club and him saying, no, you're staying and we have you under contract. He's used to that. This is, we all want to stay. We're all happy. And getting rid of them in this type of environment is difficult. Because, again, I think if he could wave a magic wand, they would just cut him. They would just say, you're done. And, put you on a waiver wire and we're not responsible for your wages anymore. Now, he's just got to find dance partners. They got to find dance partners with these, with also trying to get incomings. Bamford missed more than one penalty. Yeah, thank you. He missed a lot. He might be responsible for us being down. Master patience, Alex. Thank you. I'm patient. I'm honestly I'm not that ambitious. I'm just saying, get a goalie and get maybe midfield reinforcements. I'm happy. You could honestly get 2 players for me until August, until the last 2 weeks of the window. And I think Farka and the coaching staff, based on the first 4 games, can manufacture, an attack, a pretty potent attack. Maybe it's on the counter or whatever. And Dan James is quick. Ramazani's quick. Willie Nanto's good. He can score goals in the Premier League. We have enough number 9. Honestly, I'm happy until mid-August if you get 2 signings in, but they got to come in. Goalie and midfield. So I'm not honestly saying, but I am saying that I think things are tight. It's tight down there. The books are tight. I feel the 49ers will keep big ticket signings. Yeah, late. Yes, late into the window. Spent my life staging watching the scum in Sweden. If Bamford and Harrison are playing, I won't be happy. Mike, well, thank you for your support of the club. I don't represent the club, but thank you for your support of the club. And, yeah, I will. Yeah, I won't be happy about Jack. I won't be happy if Meslier starts. Jack can be industrious and, so can Bamford. And I appreciate that. When somebody has a defensive frailty, when somebody makes mistakes, like really Aronson did. Aronson made a mistake in the box. The ball got turned over and it was a goal for the opposition. He tried to play out, create a little triangle. That was a big, big, big mistake for me. And then Meslier's defensive frailty to me is he cannot claim a cross. you put it on his head and you score a goal 3 times or whatever. 3 times you put it on his head, you score a goal once. That can't happen. He can't be here. He cannot be. He has to be third choice goalkeeper. You have to bring a goalie in, and you have to figure out that partnership, that diamond there. And definitely 3 need get goalkeeper, midfield, and striker. Keeper is a must. Thank you all for commenting. I do. My punchline is, it's tight. It's going to be the budget. I think is tighter than everybody expected. Get a goalie. I don't think it's a bad first half of the window. And I do trust the 49ers to, when it's all said and done, have a good window. But you're cutting it very close. And the fact that Meslier is packing up and boarding a plane to play a friendly is disappointing. And, I want us to have a go at staying up. I really want it to happen. And it'll be interesting either way. We'll see. I was looking back at Farka's 2 Premier League seasons, 1.5 Premier League seasons. There are some lopsided scores in there. There are some lopsided scores. He got his butt handed to him a couple times. And so did Bielsa. And look, I got a Bielsa mug right here. I love the man. You have to be able to adapt. And, Farka has a much stronger squad than Bielsa did, in my estimation. Bielsa never had an Ampadu. Well, you could say he had Calvin Phillips, but he never had it. I think Rodon's been probably better than some of the other center backs. I don't know. It's probably close. I don't want to go down that road, actually. But overall, I think overall talent in the squad, Farka doesn't have a Forshaw on the bench. How about that? Farka doesn't have, an aging Click in the squad. And I know Click had a good first half of that first campaign, but get my drift. So, Farka's going to have to do what the best he can with the talent that he has. And hopefully he's learned the lessons he did over the last 2 years. Otherwise, a poor month means Sam Allardyce, right? Okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a blast. I'm confident about what's going to happen, but I also think that there needs to be a sense of urgency. Peace out. Leeds.